So welcome back to our third part of our Windows Virtual Desktop deployment video. In this part, we're going to deploy the host pool. In the meantime, we're having a look in our Azure Active Directory, and we just have a look if the users have been synchronized. We can see them here now. And now we are looking for the groups, and you should see the group with all the users in there. It's here. WVD users, and you can see the members of the users. These are the users that we created on our domain controller in here. So this worked perfectly. So now we're going to deploy the WVD host pool. To do that, we choose this service over here. It's called Windows Virtual Desktop. Just use this one. There's another one that is marked in red. This is the old one. Use this one with the blue icon in here. So just click this here, and now we are clicking on Create a Host Pool. Now we have to put this this host pool into a resource group, and therefore we already created our host pool 1. We select this, and now we give a host pool name for this. So this is just the name of our host pool. We call this host pool 1. The location, this is the location where don't be confused about the location in here. This won't be placed in another region. This is just for the metadata. And Microsoft was promising to put the metadata into the European data centers as well. And this should happen until the 1st of November. But obviously this is the 10th of November and it didn't happen right now. But it should come really soon, where you can choose a location. So this is just for storing the metadata. So this is no current data that you use, but this is the name of the host groups and the inside of the resource groups that you have. This data have to be synchronized to the backend. So just use in the meantime, just use EastUS for this. So we can choose here if you use a validation environment. If you want to try something out or just play around with this, you can choose this. We let the settings to no. And now we have to choose the host pool type. This is really important because here you can select if you want to either use a personal desktop for every user. So this is a dedicated one that every user has, or we're going to use a pooled one. So a pooled one is the multi-session Windows 10, where every user is not having his own personal machine, but his own personal workspace within one of the host pool machines. So we go with the pooled ones. And here we can set the maximum session limit for the machines. We already decided, when we go back to our Azure Price Calculator, that we wanted to use, or we wanted to have 5 users in here that connect during the time of business hours. So for this one, so in here we have the choice to put 8 users on this, but we want to go with 5 to just to make sure that this fits. We can alter this later on. But here we can set the number of users that we want to put on each of the machines. So make sure that the size fits for your machines. So as Microsoft recommends, 1 user or 2 users per 1 vCPU. For the Office collection and some legacy, this should fit really good. In this example, we go with this machine. And we put 5 users in there, maximum on one machine. So we enter the amount of 5 in here. And then you have the load balancing algorithm. So what you can choose of is breadth first, or you can go with depth first. What does it mean? If we run up to 5 or 6 machines or whatever we want to take, we can select, if we select breadth first, the first user will go on first machine, the second user will go on the second machine, the third user will be placed on the third machine, and so on. So this is the breadth first option. And if you want to do something like we were doing in the pricing calculator, that we want to first fill the first machine with all the users, and then fill the second machine and the third machines, and switch off the machines that are not in use, so we can share money with that, we should go with the dev first. So if we choose this option, then the first machine will be filled with 5 users, and then the second machine will be filled with the first user up to 5, and then again, third machine will be filled with the other users. So we should go with this one. The next one is the virtual machines, where we can set the template which we want to use. And we have the option to add virtual machines now, or we add them later, but we want to do that now. We can see the resource group is the WVD HostPool that we choose of. And this is the virtual machine location. And there we want to go with the location where our domain controller is in. So this is, in this case, we want to go with West Europe. And you can change the size of the machines in here. So if you want to change the sizes, click here, and then we can choose our machine. And we go with the 4 series, and we were choosing this one, the D4SW, the D4SV4. It's the one that we selected here, right? So just select this. You can check the values here. This is for vCPUs, 16 GB of RAM. You can add 8 data disks and have maximum IOPS of 6,400. This is the one we want to go with. And then we can make a choice, how many VMs do we want to deploy? And in our example, for this 25 to 30 users, we're going to go with 4 machines. One for the host pool that's running 24/7, and in the same host pool, the machines that are running only to business hours. This is another 3 machines. So we have 4 machines that we want to deploy. Then we have a name prefix. That's the name of the VMs. So the first VM takes the number 0. Then the second one is machine number 1, and so on. So this is just a name for the session host, and this name has to be unique. So we call it HostPool 1, and then the first machine will be HostPool 1 minus 0, and the second one will be HostPool 1 minus 1, and so on. Then this is a really important option here. We can choose where we want to take our image from. And Microsoft is offering some images that are ready to go from their own gallery, but you can choose a storage blob where you could put your own image in. And this is what we're aiming for if we do it correctly. So if you are already having a machine that you want to use as one of the host pool, let's say as a goat image, then just deploy one machine for a host pool, make all your choices there, install your language packs, make sure that your time zone is set correctly, install all the applications that you want to have there that are static on there, and then you just grab the image, generalize it, and you can put it then on a blob storage, and then you can choose it from here. Just go on storage blob, and then you can enter the URL from the machine where you can choose the image from. But in the first step, we're going to go with the gallery, and then we can set the image here. So if you want to go multi-session, then the first option is this one. But if you want to go multi-session and you want to do MSIX app attach that we want to use later, then we go with this one. Or if you want to use this version and you want to install the Microsoft 365 apps already on there, you can choose this one. So all the Microsoft 365 apps will be pre-installed on this machine. So we choose this option here. As OS type, as this type, we want to go with the premium SSDs. Be sure, I mean, you can't deselect this. The managed disk is really, it's not a thing to deal with in this case. And now we have to make sure that we are in the right VNet, and we should choose the VNet. It's the basic VNet that we want to go with, and it's the VNet that the domain controller of us is in there. Then we can set public IP addresses. As already stated, the machines will only get private addresses, and on the machines there is an agent that will connect to the gateway, and to the session hosts. They will connect from inside, so they do a reverse connect to the session, and they say, okay, I'm here, I'm ready, you can use me. So they use the internal IP addresses only there. So if you want to go with the public IP addresses, these IP addresses will be exposed to the internet, and you don't want to do that. So just go with the no option. Then there's the basic security group that will be added. And then we have to specify the domain or unit, and we want to do that. So we want to join to the also.wvd domain, and we have to put our organization unit in there. And this is that we specified before. We want to go and we want to put all our machines in HostPool 1. Let's look it up, that we don't mess around with that. It's HostPool 1. And we want to put this into the organization unit WVD. And then we have to add the domain controller settings. So this is the domain, it's also, and it's WVD. So this should fit. Then we have to enter the AD domain, the UPN. This is the WVD admin at also.wvd. And our password that we selected. So next we have to configure the workspace. And we can register a desktop application group. We are not doing that now. We are doing that after the creation of our host pool. Then we can enter the text, where we can enter what this host pool is for. So like this is human resources, or this is development, or whatever. You can put that in here. The next step is we go and review and create. So one really important thing that I forgot and that we have to adjust before we do that is we have to go into our virtual networks, and there we have to go in this specific virtual network that we have our domain controller in, and we have to alter the DNS server. So we have to put in the IP address of our DNS server. I think it was the 10.0.2. Let's look it up, that I don't mess things up here, because this is really important. So what is the IP address of this machine? Yes, it's this one. Just copy that, and we click on networking. Click into our virtual network here, and then we use the DNS server here and put in the value from, maybe we're choosing, okay, there's a copy paste problem, just correct that. We save this, and then we are ready to go. Otherwise, the deployment of the host pool will not be successful, because the host pool could not connect to the domain controller that we run in Azure already. So after making sure we're setting the virtual network correctly, we click on create, and the creation process will start. If you tried WVD before the spring update, this process took about 35 to 40 to 1 hour, maybe. From time to time, this differs, but it took a long time to deploy. on the new environment, this is much more faster. So this will take 5 to 10 minutes now. You can see, you can watch the deployment progress here. What will be deployed? We can see that if we go to the template, and you could see all the resources that are being deployed. It's the host pool name, it's the app group name, it's the workspace template that will be deployed. Everything that will be deployed, you can see that in here. This is a parameter, so you can add some values and variables. You can use that for automation settings if you want to go with that later. So if you're deploying all the things again and again and just want to alter the amount of machines or the size of the machines, you can take this JSON template and deploy it and use this for automation things or for automation, for everything you want to automate there. So what happens now? The host pool will be created. Then we will get the desktop application group. And now the machines will be created from the template. So everything we created before, or we said before, will be created now. And the machines will be deployed. So 5 minutes later, our deployment is complete. So let's see what we have here now. So this is our Windows Virtual Desktop overview, and we can see our host pool. And we can see in our host pool, we have 4 session hosts. There's one application group and one application that's already in there. This is the one that's synchronizing everything. So next steps, we have to configure the application group here. And this is the application group that we currently have. And now we have to add some users for this application group. So to do that, we have to click on assignments, and then we have to add the users. And we don't want to go with every user, but we want to go with the group that we created. So we don't have to put every user in there. So we just click here, click on select, and all the users in this group will be assigned to this application group. The next step, we go back to our Windows Virtual Desktop overview, and we need a workspace that we attach the users to. So we have to add a workspace now. Just click here on add. Then we have to click the resource group, and we want to put the resource group in the same host pool, in the host pool resource group that we want to use the hosts with. We have to create a workspace name. That's the name of this workspace we want to use. And this can be human resources or something that you want to use. We go with WVD workspace. And this is the one that we use for internal management, for administration things. But this is nothing that we want to display to the users that log in to the workspace. So this is a friendly name, and this one, the friendly name will be used to display the workspace to all our users that are that want to access it via the client. And therefore we choose a friendly name for that. This is WVD. Also workplace. We can add a description there if we want. The location, again, this is just for the metadata, and you will be able to use the European data centers really soon. Next is the application group, and then we have to register the application group that we created with the users that we created a few minutes before. We click here on register application groups, and then we can use our application group here. So just click here on plus, and then we have the selected application group here. We go on review and create. We can go with the text, and then we can enter some information that we're going to use. But in this example, we just click on review and create. And now our workspace is ready, and we are able to access our virtual machines with our users. So this has already been set up, and we can use this already. So if we want to use our Windows Virtual Desktop client, we have to download it before. And you can download it right here, WVD. client. It's, you can download it here. It is, we use on this machine, we use the 64-bit client. You can also use the 32-bit one and the ARM 64 client. So just go with this one and install it on your machine. Don't use this one, the old remote desktop connection. It won't work because this one is using MSTSC in the background. The new one uses a different protocol that uses HTTPS over port 443. So we need another one. So we downloaded this one. Just click on install. Accept the license agreements and install this. So this will take a few seconds. And now we can connect to our workspace. This is the client here, and we have to click here. Now we have to enter the credentials of our WVD users. It was WVD user 1 at our domain that we used. Then we have to enter the password. Click on OK. And now this will be registered, and the policies will be applied to this. But keep in mind, this is in this example we create a user profile on every of the machines, so we want to avoid that. What we want to do is we want to use a user that has his user profile on FSLogix, and this is something that we going to install in the next steps. So this is the workspace that we already created. And this is the default desktop that's been deployed for our WVD user 1. We can use that. Just double click it here. Then it connects to our environment, and you have to re-enter the password again. Click on OK. And then we're ready to use our machine in our Windows Virtual Desktop environment. So this is our personal Windows 10 desktop. And we are free to use it now. What you can see is we are using the gallery image that also has a pre-installed Office suite on there, so you can use Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, Excel, OneNote directly from scratch. So what else can we do with this environment that we have already? Just go back to Home, and we go back to Windows Virtual Desktop, and now we click on HostPools. Click on HostPool 1, and now we can do some things. We can see there's one active session. That's the user that's currently connected. And we can have a look at the session host itself. So these are the session hosts, and we can see our user was connecting to this machine, to the HostPool 1, the second machine, and it has been put in here. What else can you see? You can switch down the machine. You can switch off the machines if you don't want them to run anymore in the background. You can go here and just remove the machines. If the users are on there, you can log off all users, or you can send messages like, okay, this machine is going we're going to shut this machine down in 10 minutes, so please log off. What you can do to force this, you can put in the drain mode, and if we switch this to on, it will not allow any new connections. So if you put this on, nobody else is able to connect to this machine. And if users are logged on right now, we can log them off. We can do this in the example where the machine is already hosting one of the users. You can see log off users, or we can see send message. We just send, please log off. Click on OK. Now we're clicking on our machine here, and we can see, okay, this is the message that we got over the portal. And we can force the log off all users. So what we can do here, we can just click here, and then we log out all the users. And now you can see here, we're getting logged out of our session right now. So this is what we can do with the management in our Windows Virtual Desktop environment through the graphical user interface here. And there's a lot of things more that you can do. You can see the tasks, you can export the templates that you have. So this is more or less everything that I want to show you for this in this session. So in the next session, we can see how we use and how we leverage FS logics for roaming our user profiles and attaching the user profiles to each of the machines that we connect to.